So, when someone tells you to, just be confident right before you step into a really high stakes meeting or something.
Oh, it's the worst. It honestly feels like a cruel joke.
Right. It's like it's the psychological equivalent of being stranded in a desert and someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, just drink some water."
Yeah, and they don't even have a bottle to hand you.
Exactly. It's completely useless advice. So, welcome to the English Boost podcast, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
In our exploration today, we're pulling from this really fascinating analysis of human communication, and we're just going to completely dismantle everything we've been taught about self-assurance.
We really have to because the standard advice is broken.
It really is. So our mission for this session is to throw out that hollow, just believe in yourself bumper sticker advice and actually construct a practical, evidence-based blueprint for building genuine confidence.
Because honestly, if you're just waiting around for this magical surge of bravery to arrive before you take action, you know, you're pretty much guaranteed to stay stuck.
Yeah, for sure. So let's start with that fundamental flaw. We treat confidence like it's a prerequisite.
We do. We treat it almost like a piece of armor that you have to, like, strap on before you're even allowed to step into the arena.
Right, like I can't do the thing until I feel the thing.
Exactly. But the core reality we need to establish right out of the gate
Mhm.
is that confidence is not a mood.
Okay, wow, not a mood.
No,
Right.
and it's not a personality trait you're just born with either. It's an action.
An action. But media conditions us to think it looks like, I don't know, this loud, shiny, chest-thumping display of dominance, right?
Yeah, the loudest guy in the room kind of thing.
Yeah.
But true confidence is forged in these highly uncomfortable, really unglamorous moments.
Like when?
Like when your throat feels tight and your palms are sweating and you're absolutely terrified of asking a question because, you assume everyone else in the room already knows the answer.
Oh, I hate that feeling. So our source material defines this so sharply as action despite fear.
Yeah, which completely flips the traditional script.
It really does. Like if confidence isn't the absence of fear, but rather just the willingness to move forward while the fear is still like actively coursing through your nervous system,
That changes everything.
totally changes everything. You just act while your hands are cold.
Yes. You speak up, even if your voice falters. And faltering, meaning your voice shakes a little or loses steadiness.
Right.
That isn't a sign of failure. It's literally just the physiological tax of doing something outside your comfort zone.
The physiological tax. I like
Yeah.
that. It's like paying the toll on a scary bridge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like to say confidence is basically that friend who is notoriously always running late to the party.
Ah,
It only ever catches up to you after you've already started moving.
so true. But why does our body fight us so hard on this?
Well, it's evolutionary psychology. It makes it entirely predictable. Your brain's primary function is not to make you feel bold or fulfilled or professionally successful.
Wait, it's not?
No. Its
Yeah.
primary job is just to keep you alive, period.
Right, survival mode.
So when you face a new, unpredictable, or socially risky situation, your amygdala, which is the brain's threat detection center, it floods your system with fear signals.
It's basically screaming at you to retreat to safety.
Exactly. And if you wait for those neurochemical signals to just naturally dissipate before you act, you will be waiting for the rest of your life.
So confidence is the active decision to feel that alarm, recognize it for what it is, like a false positive for mortal danger, and just take the step anyway.
You'd have to.
That reframing helps explain a trap I've fallen into for years.
Oh, yeah. What kind of trap?
Well, I always picture it like standing at the edge of a freezing cold swimming pool.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, and my strategy was always to try and mentally convince my body that the water was actually warm before I jumped in.
Which obviously never works.
Never. But what you're saying is the water is cold, my body knows it's cold, and I just have to dip a foot in anyway, knowing it's going to be a total shock to the system.
The shock to the system is guaranteed. Your nervous system will absolutely protest.
Right.
But the goal isn't to bypass the shock. It's to prove to your brain that the shock isn't lethal.
Oh, wow. Prove it's not lethal.
Yeah. When you dip your foot into that cold water, you're initiating an active process of desensitization. You're showing your nervous system that the discomfort won't actually destroy you.
So you survive the temperature, and then the next time you approach the edge of the pool, the alarm bells ring just like a fraction of decibel quieter.
Precisely.
Okay, well, let's play devil's advocate here for a second.
Sure, go for it.
If I jump into the cold pool every single day, The water itself doesn't magically become warmer.
Right.
So, doesn't exposing yourself to fear repeatedly just lead to chronic exhaustion if the fear never actually goes away? Like, how does taking the action fundamentally alter the mindset over time?
That's the key right there. The water doesn't warm up, but your internal baseline shifts.
Okay.
And this brings us to the absolute necessity of building an evidence base.
Evidence base.
Yes, confidence is not constructed from imagination or wishful thinking, or, reciting positive affirmations in the mirror.
Really? Because we hear so much about affirmations.
Your brain is way too smart to believe hollow self-talk. If you don't have proof, it won't believe you. Confidence is built strictly on hard, empirical evidence.
So it requires an actual track record.
Exactly. It requires a track record of follow-through.
Mhm.
When you make a minor promise to yourself, like, say, deciding to make a daunting phone call or speak up during the final 10 minutes of a meeting,
Yeah.
and you actually execute it, you're collecting undeniable proof of your own capability.
So these completed actions act as like quiet votes for your evolving identity.
That's a great way to put it. Over time, those accumulated votes harden into conviction.
Conviction. I really like that word. That's a much sturdier concept than just, feeling good about yourself.
It is. It's grounded.
It's a quiet, rooted certainty based on a literal ledger of proof you've built up.
Yes. And examining that ledger leads to a massive paradigm shift in our source material.
Right, the idea of domain specificity.
Yes. We have this terrible habit of catastrophizing our insecurities.
Oh, totally. Like if we freeze up while giving a wedding toast, we don't say, oh, I need to practice public speaking.
No. We hand down a life sentence. We declare, I am a deeply insecure person.
Yes, I've done that so many times.
We generalize our perceived failures to our entire identity, which is mathematically absurd.
Mathematically absurd. I love that.
Because confidence is highly domain-specific. You might be incredibly decisive and self-assured when, navigating complex financial models at your job.
Right.
But you might find yourself entirely paralyzed trying to make small talk at a neighborhood barbecue.
So true. Or you might be the loudest, most engaging storyteller among your close friends.
Yes.
But the moment you have to present to a new client, your voice just completely falters.
Exactly. And the takeaway here is that you are not fundamentally broken as a human being.
Thank goodness.
You are simply undertrained in a specific environment.
Undertrained. That is such a forgiving word.
It really is.
It implies that the skills can just be acquired, rather than assuming you have this permanent character flaw.
Right, it shifts the blame.
But instead of entering that training mindset, we tend to retreat to this imaginary land, the land of next Monday.
Oh, the land of next Monday. It's very crowded there.
It's a heavily populated psychological safe haven. It's where all our unkept promises and delayed actions live.
Yep. I'll start networking next Monday.
I'll volunteer for the hard project next Monday.
And procrastination is the ultimate killer of the evidence base we just talked about.
Because you're not casting any votes.
Right. Every time you delay an uncomfortable action, you are casting a vote for avoidance.
Yeah.
You're basically reinforcing your brain's false narrative that you couldn't handle the threat.
That makes total sense. So how do we break out of that cycle?
Well, our sources emphasize the disproportionate power of one single word.
Yet. Just the word yet.
Just yet. When you state, I am not confident at leading meetings, you completely close the loop.
Yeah.
You declare the trial over.
The verdict is in.
Exactly. But by simply appending the word yet, so I am not confident at leading meetings yet, you instantly shift from a fixed mindset into training mode.
Wow. It signals to your brain that competence is an ongoing project.
Yes, it leaves the door open.
Okay, but if the math is really that straightforward, take action, gather evidence, add the word yet to your vocabulary, why is this still such a universal struggle?
Oh, because it's not just math.
Right, there has to be some layer of cognitive friction making this difficult. Because if it were just about logging reps, we'd all be incredibly self-assured by our 30s.
Oh, for sure. The cognitive friction is immense, and it stems from the brain's really sophisticated self-preservation tactics.
It wants to keep us safe.
Yes, our minds will deploy these elaborate defense mechanisms to keep us firmly planted in our comfort zones.
So what are these enemies?
We identify three major internal enemies of confidence. The first one is self-sabotage.
Okay, self-sabotage. But that usually seems pretty obvious, doesn't it?
Actually, self-sabotage rarely announces itself as a destructive force. It usually masquerades as prudence.
Prudence. Like being careful.
Exactly. It's fear wearing a very nice jacket.
Fear wearing a nice jacket.
It
Wow.
sounds highly rational in your head.
Hmm.
It's the voice telling you, oh, you shouldn't launch this initiative yet because you need to do 3 more weeks of market research.
Or you shouldn't speak up in the meeting because your idea isn't fully formulated.
Yes, it completely disguises avoidance as perfectionism.
Man, fear wearing a nice jacket. So when I spend like 2 hours obsessively tweaking the font on a presentation deck before I send it to my boss,
You're not being detail-oriented.
no, I'm just using aesthetics as a shield. I'm delaying the vulnerability of being judged on the actual content.
Exactly.
That is a tough pill to swallow. Okay, what's the second enemy?
The second one looks like the exact opposite of shrinking. It's overcompensation.
Overcompensation, like the really loud guy at the party.
Yeah. Yes. Overcompensation is fascinating because it often fools observers. This happens when an individual becomes excessively loud, dominant, or argumentative just to mask their internal terror.
We all know that person, the one who talks over everyone else in the room and aggressively controls the agenda.
Right. And they are rarely the most confident person present. They are often the most deeply insecure.
So they are turning up the volume on their personality.
Yeah, they're preemptively trying to control the environment because they are terrified of being exposed or challenged. Genuine confidence actually has no desire to dominate.
It doesn't need to suck all the oxygen out of the room to survive.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the third internal enemy. And this one is arguably the most insidious.
Yes, rumination.
The midnight cinema.
Yes, and we have to distinguish rumination from productive reflection.
Right, because reflection is good.
Reflection is great. Reflection looks at a mistake and asks, okay, what data can I extract to perform better next time?
But rumination.
Rumination is your brain waking you up at 2:00 a.m. to broadcast a high-definition replay of that time. You awkwardly hugged a colleague who was only reaching out for a handshake,
Oh no, we've all been there.
and doing so with 0 actionable takeaways. It's just suffering.
Just pure torture. So why does the brain do that?
The neurology behind rumination is basically a misfiring of your brain's problem-solving apparatus. The brain is trying to solve a social puzzle that is already securely in the past.
It's mistaking repetitive worry for actual preparation.
Precisely. So to dismantle this, you must develop the trait of being self-possessed.
Self-possessed, what does that actually mean?
Well, being self-possessed does not mean achieving this state of Zen-like tranquility where self-doubt never enters your mind.
Because that's impossible.
Exactly. It means redefining your relationship with your internal noise.
Yeah.
Think of your mind as a car.
Okay, car.
You cannot banish nervousness from the vehicle entirely. It is allowed to ride with you.
It has to be in the car.
Right. You can sit in the back seat, and it can complain loudly about the route you're taking, but you absolutely refuse to let it touch the steering wheel.
Okay, I love that. So we've essentially figured out how to talk our brain down from the ledge when the midnight cinema starts playing, or when nervousness is shouting from the back seat.
Yes, cognitive strategies.
But here's the catch. You can't always think your way out of a physiological panic response.
That is very true.
If I'm standing at a podium and my heart rate spikes to like 120 beats per minute, my brain won't believe any logical self-talk. It feels like we need a way to hijack the physical feedback loop.
And you've hit on a critical limitation of cognitive behavioral strategies. They often fail under acute stress.
Because the body takes over.
Right. The mind and body are in a continuous bidirectional conversation, and it's largely mediated by the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve.
Yes. Before you utter a single syllable, your posture, your breathing rate, your muscle tension, all of that is communicating your internal state, not just to the audience, but back to your own brain.
So my body is telling my brain we're in danger.
Exactly. This introduces the physical concept of composure.
Composure.
But composure is not rigidity. It is not acting like an unfeeling statue.
So what is it?
The best way to conceptualize true composure is to imagine holding a warm cup of tea with both hands after a really grueling, stressful day.
That's a highly specific physical sensation.
Think about how it feels.
Well, when you hold that tea, you aren't pretending the stress didn't happen. You aren't forcing a fake smile. You are just letting the warmth anchor you.
Precisely. You are deliberately sending a grounded, parasympathetic signal to your nervous system through your relaxed grip and your steady breath.
That's incredibly powerful.
It is. And this ties directly into the concept of rootedness. Deep confidence is the physical capacity to withstand discomfort.
Like a tree in a storm.
Yes. Imagine a tree in a severe storm. A tree doesn't prove its durability by being completely stiff. If it were rigid, it would just snap.
Right.
It proves its strength by remaining deeply rooted while allowing itself to sway in the wind.
So when we panic, our instinct is usually the opposite. We abandon ourselves physically.
We do. We hunch our shoulders, we cross our arms, avert our gaze, we rush our words just to get out of the spotlight as quickly as possible.
Let me push back on that idea for a second, though, counteracting that physical shrinking.
Go ahead.
Because when I feel out of my depth, my instinct to shrink feels protective.
Of course it does.
If I consciously force myself to slow down my cadence, plant my feet, and physically take up more space, a part of me feels like I'm being arrogant.
Like,
I worry I'm projecting unearned authority. Isn't taking up space a form of that overcompensation we just criticized?
that is such a common fear. But it is vital to distinguish between claiming space and stealing space.
Claiming versus stealing. Okay, break that down.
Overcompensation is stealing space. That's talking over others, demanding the spotlight, expanding at the expense of someone else.
Right, the loud guy at the party.
Exactly. Rootedness, on the other hand, is merely claiming the space that already belongs to you. It is giving your own physical presence a stable place to land.
So I'm not taking from anyone else.
Not at all. When you drop your shoulders and breathe deeply, you are not communicating dominance to the room. You're communicating safety to your own brain.
Wow.
You are aggressively claiming your right to just exist in that environment.
Okay. Understanding the vagus nerve, the cognitive traps, the difference between claiming and stealing space, that is phenomenal theory.
But theory isn't enough.
Right. Because theory evaporates the absolute moment the adrenaline hits. We need a tactical response.
And we have one.
Oh.
Our sources synthesize this into the 5E confidence method.
Yes, the 5E method. It's a 5-step playbook to deploy the literal moment panic sets in. And looking at the first step, it seems to validate exactly what we discussed earlier about the cold pool.
It does. The first E is expose.
Expose, like exposure therapy.
Essentially, yes. It's about calculated, gradual desensitization. You must deliberately enter the environments you have been avoiding, but in microdoses.
Microdoses. So if my ultimate fear is public speaking, I shouldn't go volunteer to deliver a keynote address to a packed auditorium.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That will likely trigger an overwhelming threat response and just reinforce the trauma.
So what do?
You lift the smallest possible stone. You commit to asking one clarifying question in a small, familiar team meeting.
Just one question.
Just one. You microdose the discomfort at a level your nervous system can actually process, which allows you to build tolerance incrementally.
Okay, so if the first step is generating the action, the second E must be about processing the aftermath, right? Yeah. The second E is evidence.
Evidence.
Because if we act despite fear, our brain probably assumes we barely survived a near-death experience. Left to its own devices, it will only remember the awkward stutter in the middle of the sentence.
Exactly. You are describing the brain's inherent negativity bias.
Negativity bias.
Millions of years of evolution have wired us to prioritize remembering threats over successes. Because, remembering where a predator lives keeps you alive, whereas remembering a beautiful sunset does not.
That makes total sense biologically. But it's super annoying in the modern world. We have to actively log the victory to counteract that, don't we?
Yes. You have to manually override this biological default. You must intentionally record your wins, no matter how microscopic they seem.
Like write them down.
Yes. Write down that you sent the difficult email. Document that you held eye contact during a tough negotiation. If you do not become the meticulous archivist of your own bravery, your brain will automatically discard the data.
Meticulous archivist of your own bravery. Keeping a diary of, I spoke up today, might feel, a bit juvenile at first.
It might.
But knowing it's a necessary weapon against millions of years of evolutionary biology makes it feel pretty essential.
It's mandatory.
So that brings us to the third E, which yields immediate results. Edit.
Edit. This is a big one.
This requires auditing our vocabulary for what they call shrinking language.
Shrinking language. Societal conditioning, especially in professional environments, trains us to soften our statements, to remain likable.
Oh, absolutely. But it is instantly empowering to just delete those apology words.
Completely.
You stop saying, sorry, this might be a stupid question, and you simply state, I have a question.
Yes. Shrinking language is basically an unconscious apology for your physical presence.
An apology for your presence.
Stripping away those qualifiers does not make you aggressive. It just makes you clear. Clean language projects internal certainty.
Clean language. Okay, the fourth E then transitions us from language back to biomechanics. Embody.
Embody.
Because when the cognitive load becomes too heavy, you must let the body open the door so the mind can follow.
Right. It's the manual override we talked about. Put both feet flat on the floor to establish physical grounding. Drop your shoulders away from your ears to release that trapezius tension.
And breathe.
Take a deep, diaphragmatic breath. You are using your skeletal and respiratory systems to hack your neurological state.
The body acts as a literal manual override switch for the panic. I love that. And finally, the fifth E, exit.
Exit. This is the tactical maneuver.
It's how you shut down the midnight cinema and break the rumination loop, right?
Exactly. When things go wrong, our default is to spiral into interrogating our own character.
We ask, why am I like this? Why am I always so awkward?
But the exit step demands that we abandon the why and shift entirely to the what.
The what?
Yes. The phrasing of your internal questions dictates your psychological trajectory.
How so?
Well, asking why am I like this anchors you entirely in shame and the unchangeable past. It's an archaeological dig into your insecurities.
An archaeological dig? That's bleak.
Very bleak. But shifting the question to what is the next action instantly propels you into agency and the future.
Oh, wow.
It forces the brain out of the emotional centers and back into the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive function and planning.
So the 5E method expose, evidence, edit, embody, and exit, it's not just a catchy list.
No, it is a sequential neurological intervention.
It is a remarkable toolkit. To distill this exploration down for everyone listening, confidence is never going to be a golden, impenetrable shield that protects you from feeling nervous.
Never.
If your strategy is to wait for the fear to vanish before you speak up, you will literally remain silent indefinitely.
That's the cold, hard truth.
True confidence is simply taking an honest step forward while your hands are shaking. It is building an undeniable ledger of proof through micro actions.
Yep.
It is refusing to let rumination play on an endless loop, and it is staying rooted in your physical body like a tree in the wind, even when every single instinct is screaming at you to shrink. You aren't fundamentally bad at the things that scare you. You just might be learning it.
That's exactly right. And to leave everyone with a concept to dissect long after this exploration ends.
Oh, please do.
If confidence is nothing more than a historical record of actions taken despite fear, what is one tiny, mildly uncomfortable action you can execute in the next hour to cast a definitive vote for the person you are actively becoming?
Man, that is the ultimate metric, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, thank you for joining us for this session of the English Booth podcast. The next time you find yourself standing at the edge of that freezing cold pool, facing down a new challenge, don't waste your energy waiting for the water to warm up.
It won't?
Acknowledge the temperature, claim your space, and jump in anyway. We will catch you on the next exploration.